Hi. Suddenly I'm looking surprised. So, hi, welcome to Being Whole, Being Me, Series 88. Yeah, I have a bit of a flu, so which is why I sound different. So, if you've seen this week's introduction, Chia Yee, I must thank Dr. Anasuya for introducing her to me because in the recent weeks, how children are, my daughter came up to me and asked me some really very difficult questions about LGBTQ plus, and I didn't even know there was a plus added. And of course, I watched some movies, trying to figure it out with my children. And then I realized that we are bombarded with so much of information, a lot of it that we don't know, we don't understand. And I decided the best way to find out is to learn it from an expert. And I contacted Anasuya, and she introduced Chia Yee to me. And without further ado, even though this month is really about women, and we all know women are often associated to not not being equals. And of course, generally we are looking at it as equal to men. So as women, and as we celebrate our need for equality and equity, I think we cannot not empathize with people who may not fall or identify themselves in the spaces. And what we can do as women, I suppose, especially this month, we can give people what we want for ourselves: respect for their identity and who they are and the choices they make. Not an easy subject, which is why we're going to speak to Chia Yee today. So join me, have your questions ready, because she knows what she's talking about. Let's bring in Chia Yee.
Hello. Oh my
Hello.
gosh. So much pressure on me.
Why? If as an expert, if you feel pressure, can you imagine what we feel that we don't talk about? So chill. I'm sorry if I put pressure on you, but I think I needed to. I did that for my. I think you know this being in counseling. I needed to do that to give myself context and to give the audience context, right? Because there would be people watching now, but very much people that tend to watch it much later, and I thought I would frame the way I wanted to frame it. So Charlie, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for saying yes, even when you didn't know me. So you come highly recommended by Dr. Anasuya, and I've got a lot of respect for the work she does. But let's jump into the topic very quickly. Tell us a little bit. I know we saw your background, how you've done gender studies. So tell us a little bit about your interest. How did you get interested in this space? Because in psychology you could have chosen many spaces, but you've chosen space where you learn and you teach about gender and, I suppose, equality. So tell us a little bit about you. Give us a peek into your personal life.
Okay, so to peek into my personal life, there is a very diverse thing that is going on between Malaysia, UK, and US. Okay, so what I want to tell you now is there is a difference between gender equality and equality. So it really depends which one you want to go first. Do you want me to go with gender inequality first?
let's do both. I mean, first maybe you need to, because we tend to sometimes use it interchangeably, because for people like me,
Mhm.
right? I'll be upfront, right? For people like me, I most often think about male and female, and that's it. Even though, even though I have
Mhm.
friends who are transgenders, I have
Mhm.
friends who are bisexual, who openly talk to me, and they're gay and lesbians. But it's not something that I think about every day. So most of the time, if you ask me gender, I'll go male, female, right? But when
Yeah.
we do assessment now, there are I don't know more than 30 genders, and then there's always and others, right? So first and foremost, maybe you can help us differentiate gender, gender identity, and sexuality. Maybe we can start with that and how you got into it.
Okay, let me give you the first and foremost utterly confusion that I'm gonna get. Because some students will come up to you and they will say that, I'm trans, but I'm not really trans. You know what I mean? So they have the in between kind of thing. Um, so what I want to get to you at is, okay, let's say we talk about gender inequality, so male and female, so gender. But you see, right, male and female is not just black and white. It's still a spectrum. It's still a spectrum. So
Okay.
there will be males that who looks like females, there will be females that look like males. So in gender inequality, there is some form of um, mixture. So that's gender inequality.
Okay, hold on first, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about just gender in a way first we understand before we go into the complexity of the spectrum.
Mm,
Now everything is on a spectrum now. I get it, because I think in the past we thought everything was binary. Now we're
yeah.
beginning to realize that human beings are a lot more complex, and which makes us
Yeah.
special. So let's
Yeah.
talk about the spectrum. I sort of get it, but I'm not sure whether I get it, because I can't relate to some women who are ideal women, gentle, graceful, because I'm not like that,
So what
right?
is considered ideal woman?
Yeah, so I'm coming to that, right? So because we have a picture of ideal. So what I'm saying is that I understand when you say it's spectrum,
Yeah.
right? That I have one picture of what it might be in the two both extremes, in the way we've inherited our
Yeah.
beliefs and knowledge, right? The shoots. And then you're saying, I will not belong to a totally what I would consider female in the way it was given to me. Neither male, definitely, I don't relate to it, right? But so when we talk about first gender, are we talking about physical attributes?
We're not only talking about physical attributes, we're also talking about internal attributes.
Tell us a little bit more so that we understand that it's just not male, female from a physical perspective. Are you talking about being, the masculinity and femininity? Is that what you're talking about, or is there more?
Okay, so that's why there is a gray area. There's a very, very
Ah,
gray area
okay.
between masculinity and femininity.
Right.
So it's very diverse. So it
Okay.
really depends on how much Malaysian people
Mm.
put into that category.
Ah,
Because no matter how much Malaysian put into category, but in actual fact, in the US, it's very different. Whereas in another place, it'll be very different.
is
So
it the shoots that we are defined with because of our race, religion, culture?
yes,
Okay. All right. But from let's talk about. So I think that part we understand being Malaysians, because we're
yeah,
deeply rooted in religion, culture, belief, right?
yeah,
So let's park that a little bit. But and forget about US and Canada, right? I mean, we
yeah,
get access to the movie. Now movies are coming into, so you cannot run away from understanding these things, on being exposed to these things, right? Now, my question is, let's talk about the Malaysian context,
yeah.
right? Now, so we know we have our culture, we know our beliefs, and that's what maybe we struggle with. But from a scientific point of view,
Mm,
factual point of view, give us a
mm.
bit of input to say, where is this spectrum coming from, so that I think we all need to come to our own balance and conclusion, right? We can't push it to anybody, but help us maybe
Mm,
understand and connect that, so that we know that we're not just saying this that people feel, but it
mm.
is reality. It is a reality, like many
Yes.
other things. Yeah.
So for males, right, being gay, you can't have sex.
Okay.
But for females, you can have sex.
You're
That's
talking about the legality, is it?
yeah, yeah. So I'm talking about the whole. So that is the only law and causation that Malaysian have.
Okay.
That Malaysian men cannot have sex. Malaysian women can have sex.
Okay.
I know, right? This is a bit biased, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they already updated it. I do not know because I have not heard news from it. But my understanding is that males are not supposed to have sex together, and then females are allowed to have sex together.
Now that we're going into sexual preference
Yeah,
now, right? But when we talk about, let's get to the gender bit, right? So when
yeah,
you talk about gender and the spectrum on the gender, what
yes,
are some signs as to signs,
mm-hmm.
SCINC, that
Mm-hmm.
then can help us embrace that there is this spectrum for people who are very stuck. This is how we are. We are either male or female, right?
Yeah. So for male and female, gay and lesbians, wise, okay, you are able to develop your relationship. You're able to develop, so that is great. But just no sex.
Okay.
Mm. So you can have great relationship. You can build up a very good relationship. You can build up a very good cosmopolitan relationship, whatever it is. But yes,
No, Chia Yee, I think I'm not getting my answer. I'm a little bit confused, right? What I'm asking, and maybe my question, am I repeating my question? Maybe my
mm,
question is not clear. So let's take a typical example. I think I'm
okay,
female, right? I'm an extreme female. Let's say, yeah, I'm
yeah,
taking myself as a female, right?
mm-hmm.
Now, and then I might come to you and I say, I don't really feel like this female that everybody talks about,
Yeah,
soft, gentle, cannot fight, and that's the inside qualities
mm, that you have.
that I have, that's me. That makes me me. My external don't make me me. On the
Mm,
outside, I may be what we call female gender, but on the inside, I'm beginning to maybe feel things that I don't feel fit into my ideals of a female, for example. And I come and talk to you. So inside, I'm feeling different, right? Now,
mm,
today we have psychology and science to say what I'm experiencing inside is real, because people are judging
mm,
what I should be from who I am on the outside,
yeah.
right? And so I'm asking for what is science telling us about what people feel on the inside, which actually is a great definition of their identity.
Why do you care about what science think, but what you think?
Why do I care?
Why do you care about what science think, but what you think?
No. So I'm asking you this
Yeah.
question because generally people are looking for evidence, because for years we think this is the truth.
Yes, because we think that is the truth, so therefore we persuade it. But now, if we pull back and we realize that's not the truth, then we ask questions that is pertaining to the truth.
That means you're talking about the individual figuring it out himself or herself.
Yes,
Okay. So, and
because
what
mm,
you're saying is that what's important is you feel comfortable with who you are,
yeah,
and it doesn't have to have a name. Is that what you're saying?
yes, unless you are not comfortable with who you are,
Okay.
because there is a possibility that you
Mm,
rather show your another side of yourself rather
mm,
than the true side of yourself,
okay.
because that is what human nature does.
Mm,
Because we want to defend ourselves, we do not
mm,
want to put ourselves out there, especially women.
okay. Okay.
So if men have a higher tendency to put themselves out there if they know the risk they're taking. If they know that the risk they're taking is very high, then they
Mm,
do not want to take it. they will pretend back to what they want to be. So that
So
is
what do
why,
you,
right,
right?
male and female, right, they will
Mm.
never be truthful to themselves
Mm.
unless majority of them say that, oh, okay, I'm going to be truthful to myself. I'm going to be extreme. Yes, but there are many, many of them
Mm.
tend to withdraw from being truthful to themselves.
Right.
So
But
if they are
you,
not, mm,
sorry, but I get you. So what I'm
yeah,
hearing is that I need to know who I am and what I feel as a person, right? And whether
yeah,
I can sit with that truth and comfort, seeks comfort in the truth, where I may not fall into how I have been expected to, or the general accepted categories, right?
yes,
And I don't know, the word we tend to use is be authentic, be your true self, right? And
yes,
we all immaterial of the gender equality or sexual identity that we hold, right? We all have that battle within us in other aspects. So even if I'm comfortable as a female, for example,
yeah,
whenever I want to show up who I really am compared to what is expected of me, I make that choice whether when I show who I really am, whether I'll be accepted. And when I think I'm not accepted, I'm going to act as what people want me to be because it's safer, right?
yes. But you also need to accept the consequence of your actions.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
we're not saying that authenticity comes without a price. Authenticity, there's a high price, lah, right?
yes,
For you to be authentic, right? So I get it.
yes,
So with people who are not feeling comfortable in the
mm,
assigned gender,
yeah,
right? And the assigned behaviors and what is expected. So I'm not feeling like it's not me, lah, right? And we're talking
mm,
about extremes now, right?
yeah,
And so the price they pay will be a lot more greater because
yes,
now not only inside already with ourselves we have so much of challenges, right? After accepting these, now can you imagine how much more the pain and difficulty they need to experience to show up as themselves?
yeah. But
And
they made a
that's what
choice.
yeah, that's what you're helping me to understand. Okay, so help us now. So, does the sexual identity come, the
Mm-hmm.
LGBTQ, when we're talking about sexual identity, are we having this range of sexual identity now because of the spectrum of gender?
No, because
Okay.
we
Mm,
are okay. There are a few groups, so that's why I use the word LGBTQ plus.
okay.
That's why. But because they're outdoors, there's a lot other names. There are
Mm,
20, 30 over other names,
yeah.
and um, sometimes we don't recognize them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is that it's not that I don't recognize you, I don't acknowledge you, but I do acknowledge you. But wherever you want to be, you be. Because by end of the day, right, your sexual or your gender identity belongs to you.
Mm, mm,
You know what I mean? So it does
mm,
not belong to me. It does not need my explanation or anything else. So if let's say you want to tell me that, hey, my gender identity or my sexual identity is this, you know, so I just say, okay, noted, take note. That's about it. I will
mm,
just, but I will not make a big hoo-ha of it.
mm,
But
mm.
there will be people who make a big hoo-ha of it.
That means, so if you come and tell me
Yeah,
about your gender or your
yeah,
sexual identity, you tell me I think you're straight, and you come and tell me, no, Mala, I'm a lesbian, for example,
yeah,
right? And so, first and foremost, what you're saying is that so I may respond with a hoo ha is what you're saying as a
yeah. So
receiver.
so it really depends on how you react to it. So let's
Mm,
say but you are straight, but you presented yourself as very lesbian. So it really depends on how you
mm,
react to it. If you're going to react like, oh, okay, I'm just going to brush it off, not care, fine. But if you're going to care about what the other person said, then you are going to make another huge hoo ha.
So my question is why? so I like the fact that you said, I mean, this is really
Mm.
for me, it's like, oh yeah, you're actually, I don't have to go around telling people
Mm-hmm.
about my gender identity that I identify with because it doesn't affect you, right? On one hand. On the other hand, I also don't have to tell you about my sexual identity because it doesn't affect you unless I'm trying to start a relationship with you, right? Unless I, oh, for whatever. So why do people who belong to this group have a need to say, do you know why? So that we can
Because
then
people
perhaps
are
understand.
curious.
They are curious.
Other people are curious, and on top of that, right? Sometimes we do tell people unnecessarily,
Huh.
because sometimes because we feel that we're so unique, right? We have to tell people.
They want people to know that they are different
Yes.
and that makes them unique, and they just want
Yeah.
people to understand and accept them for who they are. Is why they're telling.
Yes, but it sometimes backfire.
Of course, of course.
So sometimes it does not backfire. So it really, really depends on how you present your identity, whether it's your gender identity or your individual identity, whatever it is that how do you perceive it?
Mm.
Because if you're going to go there and tell people so that you can get more attention, are you getting more attention or are you getting less attention?
Or whether you're even getting the right type of attention.
Yes.
You can get attention, but whether it's the type that you thought you will get, is it the respect that you wanted? Is it the acceptance that you wanted? Chances are you would be attracting the right opposite.
Yes, because me as let's say that I'm bisexual and
Mm,
or whatever, lesbian or whatever it is, and I go out and I just wanted more attention.
mm,
I don't want less attention, what? I wanted more attention, what?
mm,
But if I'm not getting more attention, what am I going to do? I'm going to sulk.
mm. But if the
So
attention is a negative attention, you're okay with that. I mean, I'm talking about the context
it really depends. It really
on the
depends on the
person.
individual. Yeah, because I personally don't care because I'm a single mom with a daughter. Like I'm just living my life
Mm.
and that's it. But
Yeah,
some people might not think that way.
yeah. Because it is. So my so am I understanding it correct? Right?
Mm,
We all, as a human, we
yeah.
all want to be identified by a group of people, hopefully, who cares or whom we care for. So
Yes.
we
Some,
can't.
but sometimes we want the attention more than outside.
Mm.
We want more attention than the one that's close to us.
Yeah. So when we talk about wanting attention, let's just
Mm,
go a little bit with attention, right?
yeah.
Because I like attention, and kind of, I'm okay with that. Right. And I grew up being criticized because I liked attention. Do I
Yeah.
like everybody's attention? No, but I'm okay to say that I'm okay with attention. I like attention. Right. Yeah. So even I like attention. So there's what I'm hearing is that we have a need. Different people have probably different needs for attention. Now, where is
Yeah.
this need for attention? And so, what we do is that we bring that attention in a form that is visual, that can be seen and heard, in the way we show up, right? So it could be the way we dress. It's like I wear a sari every Friday, right? And people remember me because I wear a sari. I don't know whether they remember anything I say in the
You look great.
program.
You look great.
Thank you. Right? So I like the attention on my sari. It was a very accidental choice, right? But it is really that's when I said, okay, people remember me because of the sari, so I'll wear a sari,
Mm,
and I love saris. That is it. I love wearing saris. Now, so when you say people are come, and I think this is quite general, we do different things for attention. And I also know that people who seek attention are often criticized
yeah.
as well. Now, but why do we seek attention?
We seek attention because we want the attention.
Of course, but why? What is the emotional need that is driving the need for
Because we
attention?
want the attention. We want that attention that focus on us. And we
Ah,
are
focus on me. That
hoping
means
that
I want
that
to be visible. Okay.
yes. So if you're not giving me the visible answer, I'm going to retaliate.
Ah, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it.
So
Okay.
I can retaliate by verbally telling you something, or I can be quiet.
Mm, mm,
So there's two ways for me to retaliate. So that is why I said, right, every human behavior, right, is so unique in the sense where there is black and white, there is the gray area. So
mm,
if you're asking me that, oh, but the person did not do black, the person did not do white, the person only did gray. Why is that?
mm,
Because
mm.
he can do gray.
Okay, got it, got it, got it. So
Because
tell,
yeah,
yeah. So tell me now, now that we are sort of figuring out where we
mm,
are on the spectrum, that we need
mm,
to own our own identity and get comfortable, and
mm,
people who would come to us or us, right, when we are doing certain things, we want attention to who we are. Fine.
mm,
Now let's try and understand. So when someone comes and tells me they belong on the spectrum, and however they identify, whether it's gender or sexuality, right? If they come and tell me, hey, you know what, I'm gay, hey, you know what, I'm bisexual, hey, you know what, I'm this, right?
yeah,
Whether I understand it or not, what is the expectation in terms of a reaction and a response? So if I just say, oh, okay, and move on, because that's what I would do, because it's got nothing to do with me, right? And uh, and if I say, oh, okay, then so do they want to talk about it, or do I let it pass?
it really
What
depends.
on the
It
person again?
Yes, it really,
Okay,
really depends on the person. If
okay.
the person wanted more attention, can give the attention. But some people do not want the attention. Some people just want to tell you that, hey, I spoke on this talk, da da da, and they say, oh, okay, that's great. Like, how was
Mm.
it? How did you
It is
win?
the need why they're doing it and whether you're responding appropriately. And for you to respond appropriately, you need to understand what is it the person is seeking from you in the relationship.
Yes, and being a psychologist, right? Sometimes we do not know the answer.
Okay. So if you don't know the answer, it's okay for me not to know the answer also. So that's good because we have a lot of this. Yeah, because it's so complex, right? So
Yes,
I'm learning how to say to anybody, actually, what do you want me to do now? Because I find that sometimes people will talk to you and they'll say, I want you to just listen to me. And then the next
yes,
moment, they will slap you with you didn't help me kind of accusation.
yes,
But I thought you just wanted me to listen to you. So now
yes,
sometimes when I'm confused, I say, you tell me what you want me to be. Let me see whether I can be.
yes, yes. So that's why sometimes we have that kind of people. So that's
Right.
why in all my years of training and everything, right? There is no black and white.
Right, right. So it is really important for whoever we are, right? For us to know who we are, what we identify with, and what do we want. And to
Yes.
be able to express
Until-
and ask for it is really a true sense of freedom to be who you are, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's now we're talking about equality, and we're talking about how usually the minority, especially if they're one non-acceptable, and in this
Mm-hmm.
country it's not legal also, right? So when it's illegal, it's a lot more easier to discriminate. So from your experience, because you've been working with a lot of people in this area, and they'll come to you, right? What sort of discrimination do they experience generally first? So let's start from at the youngest age when they come and talk to you, right? What sort of discrimination that they are experiencing? And I think because why we want to talk about this is we want to know how we can be first kinder.
Mm.
Number two, I mean, if you don't make it good, don't make it bad, lah, right? So how do they feel in terms of being discriminated? Yeah, give us example of discrimination.
Okay. Being discriminated because you're LGBTQ plus
Mm,
is very different than you being discriminated as another person. So, because I always feel that being discriminated as LGBTQ, you are more sensitive
mm,
and you are more, how to say, being how I don't know how to put it, like you're being abolished. So basically, long story short is that LGBTQ community tend to be more sensitive than the normal outer group in general. But however, if you're asking me, so Miss Pang, if let's say I am in LGBTQ or I am in that one, which one should I be? It really depends. It really, really
Mm,
depends. So
mm,
what I want to say is that LGBTQ community are more sensitive. Sometimes even in the one time, that one time um, meeting with a friend or whatsoever it is, they can just blow them off.
mm.
It can just blow them off. It can just shut them off and you just say that I do not want to see anybody else.
I
So
understand that. I think that happens to everybody generally. Everybody has this experience of showing a part of us that
mm,
is not accepted generally.
yeah,
And then when you show that part of you to someone you think understands and accepts you, and then when you get a reaction, it is so scary because if someone whom I thought loves me don't accept me, how will the world accept me, right? So, and I can understand if you belong to a group that is not accepted in this country, I can only imagine how difficult it is going to be. But tell me examples of how we discriminate people that people have told you, people in this LGBTQ group have told you.
the discrimination that they have told me is that the other group does not want to talk to them.
Hmm, okay.
That's about it. Um, they some of them have went through another different groups, and approached them, no response whatsoever. Yeah.
So
So
they are discriminated. That means they are being rejected
yeah,
and isolated for their
yeah,
identity,
yeah.
and because okay, and that's tough. Nobody likes to be isolated, isn't it?
Yeah. So lucky for them because they are very talkative. So we were able to work things out. Most of them, we were
Mm,
able to work things out. But there are some others, minority, which I cannot work things out because I cannot um connect with them
mm.
because
And
they are. Yeah.
sorry, no. This is a question I'm just thinking of now. So, in terms of again, it's their own personality and how they deal with the adversity of not being
Mm-mm.
accepted, which is right now. What are there more stress and mental health challenges among this group because they're not accepted?
Yes, 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 yes. There's a lot more mental health and challenges that impose on them, especially during the whole pandemic, and then
Mm,
after the whole pandemic. And right now, everybody is trying to get used to, you know, without pandemic. So there's a lot of changes that's going around. There's a lot of changes. So during the whole pandemic, um, people are encouraged to come out, but they didn't come out. Does that make
mm.
sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So after the pandemic and everything, you see that there will be a group of number of students who are not really responding
Mm,
because of the counselors that are overwhelmed or things like that because they do not know what to do with them.
mm,
And a lot of times where I tell people to come to me, they do not want to come to me because I'm Chinese or because I am a girl. For some reason, for whatever reason, they don't want to come to me. That's fine. But I will put myself out there. Lah. But long story short is that basically is that a lot of them are males. A lot of them
mm,
are wanting to voice out, but because they can't voice out now, they just don't want to voice out the next time.
mm,
You'd be very surprised that a lot of um, G, gay men, who are very quiet, especially
mm.
in Malaysia, because of the law that we have.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's not difficult to comprehend that, right? I mean, even when we talk about men and men's mental health, right?
Mm.
I think it's so much easier for women to say, "I want to cry, I feel weak." It is a lot more acceptable than, even though we can encourage the men to do it, right? But when
Yeah.
men do it, it's not whether they do it, it's our reaction to how they are. On one hand, we can say, "Well, we accept you," right? But on the other hand, we don't realize how much of prejudices we ourselves hold, and it only comes out when you see it. So I really know it's not difficult to understand how difficult it is lah, for them, and which is why we're having this conversation, right? Because every individual, every human has a right to be himself or herself, or however they call themselves, right? And if you have to suppress who you are,
Mm.
that's not good. I mean, nobody likes to be suppressed as a person.
But if you see in the real society right now, majority of the men are
Mm,
quiet. But majority, even more majority of the women are even more quiet.
mm.
If you see, right, how many lesbians are there out there? Are there more gays or more lesbians?
I have no idea.
Could be equal amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
But because of the number ratio, right, women are more likely to suppress than
Oh.
men.
Mm.
Yes. So because men are more outspoken, but because of the whole pandemic, right, everyone has just shut down.
Mm.
How many men are talking about words and books now?
About what?
About works, about books, about an author or whatsoever it is. Yes, there are more and more shows. You are trying to encouraging that, but the whole supplement of Southeast Asia or Malaysia itself is not growing. It's stagnant. To me, it's stagnant. I personally feel that the whole pandemic until now is still stagnant. The number of participants who are gay and lesbian are very stagnant.
Ah, okay, okay. So, am I hearing you right that you're saying that post pandemic, people have become even more suppressed to express what they're
Yes.
experiencing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, but let's go a little bit to the corporate world, right? So
Yeah.
can you imagine? I belong to
Mm.
the LGBTQ group already. It's difficult now in the corporate world because I may find myself much
Mm-hmm.
earlier, or I could also figure my identity
Mm.
much later in life, right?
Mm.
And work is a space I spend a lot of time in. So, what sort of discrimination are people in this LGBTQ group plus group? What sort of experience or what kind of discrimination do they experience in the corporate world from your experience and work?
Wow. That is really depending on which state you're from first. If you're in
Oh,
KL, you are
mm,
less likely to be discriminated. But if you are with, different states such as like Kelantan state or you're in Sabah state, then you're very different. It
mm,
really depends on the company
okay.
because KL and Selangor are slightly more open-minded. I don't know if I can use that word, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
open-minded.
sure. Yeah, but we are exposed to more things anyway,
Yeah.
right?
So we are more open-minded in the sense of we will accept LGBTQ community and everything else, and equality and things, but there are still some companies in KL and Selangor where they don't accept.
Yeah, of course. Which
So
brings me to the idea of acceptance, right?
yeah.
Acceptance is not agreement, right? So
No.
and being in a country and society where we are religious,
Yeah.
right? We know very clearly that if not all, most religion don't totally even then we're not even open to the idea of the spectrum. So it's either you're
Yeah.
male or female, or if you are not, then you are sinful, which means
Yeah.
you go to hell. You
Yeah.
go to hell for being you,
Yeah.
right? Now, I mean, let's just then talk about it, right? Because that's a difficult one, right? And
So
being yeah. So yeah, tell me. So if I'm a Christian, so I'm supposed to believe that it's wrong, it's sinful, right? So I'm telling you. So it's sinful. So if someone comes to me and says it's sinful to be a gay, it's sinful to be a lesbian, it's sinful to be a transgender, because God has made you some way. Now tell me, as a person with a religious belief, how do I treat people with dignity and respect?
How are you going to treat your
How?
religion?
Oh, you're giving me the answer.
Yes, how are you going to
Right.
treat your religion? Because if your religion is flexible, in the sense of you can accept that your religion can accept you for who you are, whether you are bisexual or transgender or whatever it is, if your religion can accept for who you are, then you're fine. But if you already have a mindset that your religion cannot accept you for who you are, then you're screwed. So it really depends on how you think.
Yeah, but then again, right, Shai, because
Mm.
I think there's one stand on the religion, what the religion teaches you. Our
Mm-hmm.
religion, different religion teaches you different things about what is right and wrong, what is acceptable and not acceptable, what
Mm-hmm.
is sinful, what will get you to heaven and what will get you to hell.
Yep.
I'm keeping it simple, right? But we all know that I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm speaking for myself. I can have my religious belief, I can have my faith, but I still do struggle with day to day issues that impacts people.
That's why you have to rethink about what is your religion. If your religion does not accept transgendered or bisexual or gay or lesbian, then are you in the correct religion?
Whoa, that's a tough one.
Let's say you feel that you are in the right religion, but you
Mm,
are not doing the right thing, then change.
okay.
Because honestly, I'm
Mm,
not asking you to change whatever you want. Because honestly, when you go into a religion, did you have a
mm,
choice? You didn't have a choice.
mm,
You go into religion because your parents asked you to go into that religion.
mm, mm.
So if let's say your whole life is being stuck in that religion, then too bad lah, you're stuck in that religion. I'm sorry to say that, but you are stuck in that religion for the rest of your life then.
Mm.
But if you have a choice to go out of that religion or to modify your belief system, then modify it. So
What
it really,
are
hmm.
what are religions? I mean, I'm genuinely asking this, right? What what are the inclusive religions that you know of?
I know a lot of different type of Catholics. I know a lot of different type of, different type of religions. Because some Catholics, they say that, okay, I will not accept you for being a gay man, but I can accept you for being gay. Hey, wait, sorry. I can accept you for being a gay man, but I cannot accept you having somebody else.
I accept your identity, but don't act on your identity.
Yes, but the other side of religion is that I cannot accept your identity. I cannot accept who you are. So that's why, right? In Christianity, there is a spectrum. There is a spectrum. There is a spectrum, and there is a different group. I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I know there are some families out there who are supporting their child no matter what, despite their differences.
Mm, mm,
But that
mm.
doesn't mean that they are not Christian.
Yeah.
But can you accept that?
Mm,
If you cannot accept it, then too bad, lor.
mm, mm. Do you know of any religion that is inclusive of LGBTQ? That it
Buddhist.
accepts. In fact, if I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, no. For some reason, no one is on the live show commenting. I think it is either very difficult or they're not interested. But this is really interesting. Buddhism, I think, yeah. But I also do understand in Hinduism as well.
Yeah.
They accept spectrums, and
Yes.
individuality, right?
Okay,
Uh,
even in the form also.
was it?
They're also in the form. Instead of male, female, they also have transgendered.
And others, right? So
Yeah.
I do know that some religion are inclusive. Now, but let's say I'm a strict Christian and I cannot, and I go to a church that says you don't accept gay because it's all in their mind. They're making this up. God made you male and female. I'm
Mm,
giving, throwing you an example, right?
okay.
And now I need someone I really love and care for
Mm,
who doesn't belong to this male or female.
mm.
What can I do? Forget about choosing religion. How can I find my own reconciliation to
What do you need to
treat
do?
to treat this person well and support them?
Yeah, what do you need to do?
For me, I personally really think that like I am a Christian. I am a
Mm-hmm.
Christian. So for me, I have got two bits. One is what the church tells me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On the other hand, I always go back to, for me as a Christian, what would Jesus say and do? I've never I've never read in the Bible where Jesus discriminates anyone who's considered sinful. Never. So for me, that's my, I don't have a right to do it at all,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so for me, from a perspective of being a Christian, I understand why a religious group have their rules and regulation, but at the end of the day, my check-in is I'll always ask, okay, in this kind of circumstances, what would Jesus do? And Jesus
Mm.
has always been only kind
Yeah.
and accepting it. I don't think he has ever said, he has said why this is not good for you, why you shouldn't do this because it's not good for you, right?
Mm.
More than you'll go to hell because of what you did. That I've not seen. So for me, my checking is always that, and I'm always checking because I
Mm.
am I come from a traditional background, and I am really often surprised, and I need to really figure things out.
Yeah.
You know, not just gender, right? Even premarital sex. I come from a strict background, and suddenly when I'm thrown into a space where people are different, and I like them because I know them. You see, the thing is this, right? Because you know people because they are good, and then you look at a behavior that is seen as bad. And then for me, it's like, but this person is a good person. So I need to really understand where they're coming from. And who am I to judge? Because I'm not perfect. Yeah.
You can
So for
judge.
me, huh? What's that?
But you can judge.
Yeah. And that's the one I struggle with, right? When I judge, it shows who I am. And I need to deal with that because I know that I don't have a right to judge. So I struggle with it. So I'm saying I struggle with it. I'm not going to say, oh, I don't judge, because if I don't judge, it's a lot more easier. But I need to figure it out for myself, right? Because you belong to, if it's a country, a set of rules and regulation. Because if everything is acceptable, it's straightforward and easy, right? But when it's not acceptable, your own prejudices, your belief system is now being challenged
Mm.
inside. It's very easy to be righteous on the outside, but on
Yeah.
the inside, yeah, on the inside, you can see the pain, right? You can see the pain and you can feel the pain, right? And when you can see and feel another person's pain, what do you do with that for yourself, for your own peace, right? Because something is not settling in well for you,
You
right?
acknowledge
So
it.
sorry.
You acknowledge it.
Yeah, yeah. There are many things that's unsettling for me, and more things are unsettling. I feel like, oh my gosh, I wish I was in a small town where I don't need all of this awareness, because for me, with more awareness, I have got more challenges. I need to grow up more. Like, no need this complexity in life. But the truth is, I can run away from it. I have children. They are struggling with that.
Yes.
If I am not willing to deal with it, and that's why I do this, right? If I'm not willing to know what's my stand, how do I help my children find their own sense of self?
So
Because
you need
they
to
are
find your,
exposed to all of it. Hmm?
so you need to find your own stand first, lah.
Correct? So that's why I'm forced to take stands lah, because I got children. If I have no children, it's so much easier, right?
No children
And
also you have to take stand.
what's that?
No children also you have to take stand.
No, it's easier because you know when you don't have children. This is so I'll talk. Vernon has hi Vernon, thanks for coming in. Vernon says thank you so much for this conversation. This needs to happen more often among Malaysians, let alone among and between different global communities. Yes, Vernon, I totally agree with you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, he's an amazing, courageous person. Yeah, I mean, which so it's very easy to accept when someone else's child is struggling and tell them to accept and support. But when it is people who are closest to you, you really need to check in inside whether you are really accepting, because now you're struggling within yourself to love unconditionally. So I think children have a totally different impact, because I really don't. I would say that I have friends of all kind and I can talk to them. I don't really struggle as much. I don't. But with my children, when they're asking me, because they're expecting me to take a stand, I never had to take a stand. I could be on neutral grounds in the past. But today, my children will hold me accountable and say, so what's your stand? What do you believe? How are you treating people? Why are you avoiding? Last time I can run away, now I can't.
How old are your kids?
My eldest is 19, but my girl, my 13-year-old girl who asked me this question, she's brilliant. I'm going to name her. Her name is Lelandra. So when I was preparing for this, she's the one who mooted this thing that we are not fair to people.
Mm-hmm.
And when she came on to me when I was preparing for questions, right, I asked her, so Lil, what do you think we should do? She said, just treat them like normal people. Everyone is normal. Everyone is different, mommy. And the different is why they are normal. And for me, that was worth $1,000,000, because I didn't need to understand. But whatever you are as a different person, I just need to treat you to being normal. And that's what equality is all about, is what I learned from my 13-year-old.
So you should invite your daughter over for a talk.
I should, I did tell her that. I did tell her that. And she brushed off. Yesterday she came, so are you less nervous about the topic? What she asked me. Yeah, because she's questioning a lot of this stuff. I suppose she sees people struggle. I
Yeah.
see 12-year-olds coming to me and struggling and telling me things, right? So I can feel their struggle and pain. My daughter happens to be the warrior kind, and for me that's the definition I take home with anyone who's different, whether they have mental health issues or non-acceptance of their gender or sexual identity. So the thing I tell myself, Malal, remember what your daughter said. Treat them like normal, and whatever normal means.
Yes.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. All right. So before we go, right,
Yeah.
being in the phase of teaching, educating minds, and
Mm.
helping people to truly appreciate people for who they are on the inside, unique and special. I think that's what you do. What is your hope for Malaysia?
Wow. What's my hope for Malaysia? I just hope
Mm,
Malaysians can be kinder to each another. That's all.
nice, nice.
Be kinder to each another.
And what do
Because
you think can help us to be kinder? As to we're talking about non-acceptance, right? So I'm not going to even go talk about acceptance. If I don't accept something, and I can't accept something I don't understand,
yeah,
right? So I don't understand something, so I don't accept. How do we practice kindness in a space that we don't accept?
can we just be a bit kinder in the sense of even though they're different, we still accept them.
Mm.
Even though let's say they're not doing things that you like, but you just accept them.
Yeah, but can I say something now? I know it's the end,
Yes.
it's supposed to be end. But and the question that's coming up to
Yeah.
me yeah, is no, Vernon is saying something. Oh, Vernon, thanks. Yes, let's normalize differences and kindness, and that would transform Malaysia and the world. Yes, Vernon. I find that when we say I don't accept somebody because they're different, they hold different beliefs, values than me, I think the
Right.
fact that I'm saying I'm not going to accept you because you're gay, you're lesbian, you're transgender. As I'm saying that,
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that I am better. That's so arrogant,
Some people want it to feel that way.
right? Because we are almost saying that because I am who I am and you are not who I think you should be, I'm a
Yeah.
better species than you, right? And that I think that's really that's arrogance lah. Like it's almost like you need to get permission from me to be you.
Mm. Maybe
And
for some
hmm,
people, yes.
gosh, I hope my daughter doesn't watch this interview because she's going to ask me. Yeah,
I
but
hope she
yeah.
watched this interview.
Sorry.
I hope she watched this interview.
Well, she will watch. You know why? To make my life difficult. She will watch, and she's my growing pain. She helps me to grow up in areas that is so difficult for me. So thank you very much, Chia Yee, for
Thank
saying
you.
yes, and thank you very much for putting in your comments. I'm just going to see how many people are going to view this because interestingly, we've not had as many views, but it may come on later in YouTube. This is not an easy conversation, but it is a necessary
Yes.
conversation because
Yes.
it is an important conversation because every individual have would have faced some form of discrimination, and we know
Mm-hmm.
that when we feel discriminated, we don't feel like an equal. The
Yeah.
place to start for equality and equity is first not to discriminate another. Whether you
Yeah.
understand, you don't understand, you care, or you don't care, it's not your problem, it's their life. And with that, Chia Yee, thank you for laughing. Thank you for saying yes. We're going to say goodbye. Is there anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Nothing. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me a platform because this topic is very sensitive. Um, we haven't gotten to the very, very sensitive part yet, but yes, but we did touch base a little bit here and there. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes. So we're going to say bye to Chia Yee. And as we say bye, for those who have joined us loudly, quietly, putting in the comments, you know what, people? Put in your comments, let any difficult conversation get easier. And let's make the world a better world, the world that we want to live, where all of us, get the best option to be ourselves and the best version of ourselves. With that, remember to subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify. This is Malarvili signing off from Hearts and Minds Development Center, Being Whole, Being Me, Series 88. Till I see you next week with another interesting guest. Enjoy, have fun, and for women out there, enjoy and celebrate International Women's Day.